Hello from Bali. I am here. I've been in Bali for 2 days now, still adjusting to the time zone. But it's such a surreal experience to be here. And I'm going to share a little story about why it feels so surreal to me. So, I want to talk about manifesting and actualizing. So, when I was 21, I went through complete another breakthrough in my life. And it was a very dark time in my life, but at the same time, it was a massive time of awakening. And I started doing a lot of soul searching. I started to do a lot of seeking. At that time, I read books like The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, The Man Who Sold His Red Ferrari, or The Monk Who Sold His... I can't remember the full name of that book. But it was about this guy who was a lawyer and sold his red Ferrari, went off and became a monk. Eat, Pray, Love. All these kind of books that at the time were all about seeking and searching and finding deeper meaning in life. And Eat, Pray, Love, when I read that book, I was like, okay, number one, I want to go to India. And at that time I was getting into yoga, so I did really want to go to India and find a guru and go to an ashram and do loads of yoga. And then in that book, the description of Bali and the way she talked about Bali in that book, she made it come so alive for me that I was like, I have to go to Bali. So that was on my list. That was on my manifestation ask at 21. And I was at home in Ireland for summer, and I found old journals of mine. And in those journals, around that time, 21, 22, 23, 24, those years, I every year put Bali on my list. And it's so interesting now to be here 10 years later, right? More than 10 years at this stage. And be here now at this time. And I could have looked at it and said like, well, how come all those years went past and, you know, it didn't show up, or I didn't get what I was asking for, whatever that thing was, right? I didn't get to Bali, but I'm in Bali now, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, so had I come to Bali in my 20s, it would have been a whole different experience. I wouldn't be as financially independent as I am now. I wouldn't have had the freedom to create online and work from anywhere that I do now. I wouldn't have had the confidence that I have now. I wouldn't have had the awareness of my body that I have now. And it's like, that's where you look at the timing in the universe, right? So what you're asking for, you're manifesting it by the books you read, by the energies you're tapping into. Like when I got here and I was walking around these grounds, I was like, this is totally the book. Like when I read the book, this is what I envisioned. This is what I felt. And it's weird because I'm walking around, I'm like, I feel like I'm in the book. But really, I'm not in the book. What the book did for me was it showed me an energy of what was possible. It gave me a vision. It gave me something to reach for. And then I got to work doing all the things in my life, and it showed up. It actualized. It came to fruition. Me being here in Bali came to fruition in the universe's timing, but also in the timing that I was ready for it. So if we take timing out of it, what you're manifesting may not actualize for years. But if you don't focus on the timing and the how it'll show up or when it'll show up, and actually trust that what's for you will not pass you by. Now, there is action required, right? I had to get the action, take the action to know when it was time for me to come here and then follow through on it. You know, there was a couple of times where I could have chosen not to come here. And there was for a small bit of time in the last year where I was coming here, and then I talked myself out of coming here and slowed myself down for a little bit. And then I actually got the energy again, no, I have to really come. This is time. Now is the time. And I really, really got the clear awareness, like now is the time. So how can you apply this to your own life? What is the thing that you've been asking for, the thing that you're manifesting, the thing that you're really desiring in your heart? And is it time for it? Is it a full body yes? And when you just, like, there's things that you just know they're time for. And I just knew it was time for this. And I knew that if I didn't choose it now, that I would always regret it. So all those years, I knew I wanted to take time to go live in a place like this, to work online, to create while I'm doing it, to travel around, to do yoga, to try do all the things I wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to do it, but there was different things, different commitments I had in the last 12 years, 15 years. I had committed to creating a business as an access facilitator. That involved traveling to different cities, that involved being in different classes, that involved me taking different trainings. Now I could look at that and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I should have come here, but it wasn't the time for it. There was different things I had to learn first. I committed to being in a long-term relationship, I committed to a marriage. That's what my commitment and my priority was at that. There's nothing I should have or could have done different at that time. That's what was called to me at that time, and that's what I chose. And then all that changed, and then my priorities changed, and then this opened up. And so it's like, when it's a full body yes, it's everything becomes aligned. It might not be easy to choose it. Like, there may be uncertainty. Like, I'm traveling here, a woman by myself on my own. I don't really know anyone here, but of course it's easy to get to know people. And so I could have had all the reasons not to do it, right? I could have let my mind stop me. But when you know it's a full body yes, when everything aligns, doesn't mean it's easy, but it does mean it's ease. Like, things just flow with ease. Things show up with ease. Doesn't mean you won't have uncertainties and you won't have like certain amount of fear of the unknown, but you'll also be aligned with it. So what if we took time out of what we are asking for and actually really get what's for you won't pass you by. You will know when it's time, and that there's nothing you could have or should have done different in your past. There's no room for regret in your past. Regret is not a reality. It's not even useful to have regret. Everything is aligned as it will be, and everything is aligning for you. All we've got to do is follow the whispers, follow the full body yeses, know when it's time, know when you're ready for it. So, what if you don't give up on whatever it is that you're manifesting? What if you don't give up on whatever it is because it hasn't actualized yet, because it hasn't actually shown up yet? And actually get that everything is showing up. It's just not always on our own timing. It's on the universe's timing. It's on us getting energetically ready for whatever it is we're asking for. So maybe go back and look at things you might have put on your manifestation list from 10 years ago, acknowledge the things that have shown up, and then look at the things that haven't and ask, okay, do you still desire that? And if you do, when is the time? And I love to ask this question too, like, when will this actualize? There's lots of things still in my life that haven't fully actualized the way I know my heart is calling for, the way I know the fire in me is desiring. And yet when I ask, when will this actualize? A lot of times it's not quite yet. It's a time in the future. But I keep taking action towards that, and I don't give up on it. Okay, that's it for now. I hope you have a beautiful time, a beautiful day, whatever you're choosing, and don't give up on your list. Don't give up on your desires. Don't give up on what you're asking for, and take time out of it. Bye from Bali.